If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to Downfall Network for more cool content. What's up, everyone? Thralls Melly here once again. I'm Necrot'c.
And I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you. So another one that came out on the 28th of August was Necrot'c's new album, Mortal. This came out on Tank Crimes Records. And this band is relatively new. They formed in 2011 in Oakland, California. And this is only their second full length. Now these guys are a three-piece, and they have members in a lot of other relatively known acts, such as Vastum, Mortuous, Asaph Alex, and Saviors. And if you love riffy, old-school death metal,
yep, you're gonna love this.
And there's probably a good chance you may have already checked it out because their first album, Blood Offerings, was an absolute ripper. I have jammed that one pretty much to death. Yeah. And I'm glad I have a new one to jam because this one just rips. Opening track, Your Hell, pretty much sets the album off on a nice pace. Straightforward opener, very thrashy, but just gritty and dirty. Lots of Morbid Angel riffs, but kind of mixed with that kind of like Pestilence, sort of like thrashy death metal.
So, you know, I'd say, because Morbid Angel appears twice on here, and this time through I'd say it was the Steve Tucker era on this song. And Bloody Incantation too, it had that very like ambient kind of feel to it, and just nasty riffs.
See, the thing is, like, I think the Blood Incantation's definitely there, except in their more straightforward moments. This band, this whole album is a non-stop train that may have varied speeds, but never stops.
No. And you get that feel of Bullet Train all the time forward, and crazy riffs with Stench of Decay. It just reminded me of Vader, just straight from the opening.
Very thrashy opener, and once again, the guitar work on this album. This is a three-piece, and this guitarist shines.
And this is where you start to notice things like leads, or the fact that they really love to play these crawling riffs that just continue to build all the time. Like,
Cannibal Corpse.
Like, but the right. But they use the riff as the main thing. Like, the drummer is very straightforward, but where he changes the accents kind of dictate how the feel of the riff changes.
It pretty much dictates like how much impact that moment's gonna have too. And I just love like how like you have these nice big empty stomps where the riff is just carrying on. It's nice build up. It's almost kind of that hardcore sort of build up. But this band is pretty much just locked in 90s, maybe even late 80s stuff. And that's pretty much where I live in terms of where I got into extreme metal. Sinister Will. Definitely a standout on here because this one sort of brings in the D-beat stomp. Like, it actually opens up very much like a Bull Thrower song. And I'm talking like For Victory, sort of that, where they found that stompy groove and just rocked out to it. But then it switches up to like a D-beat, almost kind of punkish stomp, and it kind of reminded me a lot of like Dismember, except minus that token tone. Like, their tone is very much that murky, Morbid Angel tone that you hear, or even like, you know, bits of Obituary here and there.
And the end of Sinister Will is just nasty. Just reminds me a lot of Immolation, which is cool. You'll understand when you hear it.
And I have to say, like, the lead work on here is exceptional, and it never deviates from the feel of the song. Asleep Forever and Sinister Will particularly bring in almost some blackened tremolo parts, and I really like that because that really added some atmosphere to this. Not that there really isn't much atmosphere. This is mostly about just delivering heavy hits.
Yep.
But those lead sections were particularly good.
Like on Stench of Decay, the lead work on there, it's James Murphy. Very James Murphy in the style of Disincarnate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just, it's squealy, but it's tuneful and melodic. And you can tell this guy is just very adept at like keeping the feel of the song, like keeping that bullet train running. Again, you're not getting clean breaks or ambient stuff. It's all about delivering heavy hitting songs. The last track, the title track, Mortal.
So this is Morbid Angel, but the Dave Vincent era.
The riff construction is unbelievable. The riff that carries it, that palm muted chug with that weird little triplet accent, might be the biggest earworm on here, and this whole album is loaded with earworms. Absolutely dug this one. This is the longest track by far at over 8 minutes, and this is a proper closer.
It's just such a heft for the closer. Just like, all right, that was the record. Now here's one last thing to punch you before we leave.
And it's a big thing.
Yeah,
it's one final boulder they drop on you.
Dude, just Groove City with the coolest hooks, and the off-time stuff is really neat.
See, I really like this one because this was a departure from most of this was very high energy. This one was definitely the more like slow, lumbering beast of a song. And throughout most of this, it is fast, but it's varying degrees of fast. Like sometimes you get that bolt thrower stomp, sometimes you get like a nice thrashy, gallop to it, or you actually have like real pocket moments of blast beats.
Yep.
None of them feel overused because they know how to vary them, and then they build along a main riff. Generally, in every song, there's one big riff, and they like to build around
Yeah,
it.
so there's one big crawling riff in every song, and then they just build. It just weaves in and out of different modes, and it's really...
That's the nasty foundation built on corpses and bile and filth, because it's death metal. That's what you build things with. The production pretty much captures all the sound. Like, honestly, I would call this almost a time capsule album because it sounds very much like late 80s and early 90s death metal.
Correct.
It's murky but well mixed. There is tons of discernible grit. Everything really comes out clearly in the mix. Like, everything's well separated. The vocals are actually a little bit back in the mix.
Yeah, and the
I
music.
have to say, I kind of like that. Not that the vocals are bad.
Yeah.
I like his vocals a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
But I like that the music is way up front.
Yes.
And it should be because, man, you're going to be banging your head left and right to pretty much every song on here.
I did. I might be hurting tomorrow. I don't know.
The bang over is real.
Yep.
So I got to say, overall, I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. This, again, a nonstop bullet train of riffs, hooks, well-crafted, just, earworms left and right. Like, every song had a killer hook, but did not sacrifice any heaviness, and it wasn't overly melodic. It was just a well-written, heavy song, and I absolutely love that sort of thing.
No way. I'm gonna give it a 4. Again, I dug it. It was a solid album. And like Nick said, there's no song where it ever trails off the beaten path.
No.
It's heavy, it's angry, it's atmospheric at times. And again, it is more old school death metal. Nothing really flashy, but just
execution.
Yeah, dude. Really done really well. I want to see them keep going here. So.
I've seen them live, and this is...
I did not. I skipped that show.
I'm wearing the shirt I got at that show, too.
I know. I should
Gate Cooper played.
Life.
So did Exhumed. It was really fun. Should have been there. Anyway, if you like the review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all the time. Catch you guys later.
Bye.